Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tama Gocharam, because it's just Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Okay, please. Sarva Vedanta Siddhantam Gocharam Tama Gocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Very good. As we have been discussing, especially in the last verse, so when we are talking about Sattva Guna, in the verse number 119, very nicely said, Visuddha Sattvasya Gunaha Prasadaha Swatmanubhuti Parama Prasanti Trupti Praharshaha Paramatmanishta Yaya Sadananda Rasam Samruchati. If you observe, like as we discussed the point of both Rajaguna and Tamaguna, so you have some references. If there is nobody, at least sometimes you become the reference for yourself. So when Rajaguna is predominant, how you behave. When Tamaguna is predominant, how you behave. Whereas when it comes Vishuddha Sattva, especially when Sattva Guna is predominant, so how to look at the reference? So also that point, because I did not look at this point, so I was looking at this verse. So Vishuddha Sattvasya Gunaha Prasada, generally the Sattva Guna predominance or is being called as Vishuddha Sattva. They are called wise people, Jnaninaha. So you have to take as a reference. But interestingly, Jnani is having Vishuddha Sattva. Other people look at him, that him or her, as Vishuddha Sattva Purusha, but he himself does not say that I am having Vishuddha Sattva. This is the difference, okay? Because if the Jnani says I am having Vishuddha Sattva, now Sattva Raja Tamaha comes under Gunas or not? What is the nature of a Jnani? What is the understanding? Is free from all Gunas. Then how can he say that I come under this Vishuddha Sattva, Sattva Guna? So interestingly, this is what we have to, Vishuddha Sattva, because of the predominance of Sattva Guna, which is called mainly Vishuddha Sattva pure, now there is a tranquility. Swatmanubhuti. So Swatmanubhuti also, that we saw very carefully, that experiencing means the person who has got the knowledge of without any obstacle. That means the person who has the knowledge without any obstacle. So what is the obstacle? Between me and, remember, the me is the self, the obstacle is what? My doubt. The obstacles are my habits. These two are my obstacles. So I am doubtful that I am not Brahman. And of course, it is being added by my habit. My habit says, hey look, whenever there is pain, my body is paining, how can I am, absolute truth? The pain is actually truth, not I am absolute truth. Can you see this point? So the habitual error directly points out carefully. So that means we have to see little bit carefully in this regard. So that's why that person, what happens? We see Paramatma Nishtha, definitely there is Nishtha, there is commitment. So as we were looking at that, so that means the moment the person has got this Sattva Guna, and that time in fact when knowledge is there, only knowledge helps the Sattva Guna to be more and more predominant. Because the natural tendency of any jiva, any individual, is towards Raja or Tamas. So that's why the more I am connected to the knowledge, the more I am tuned to the knowledge. Now, my approach towards Sattva Guna will be more. That's why all this cheerfulness, understanding oneself, all the time maintaining the peace, contentment, everything will be part of me, because not only mere Sattva Guna, also because of the knowledge. So while discussing, now let us look at the next verse. This two verses talks about causal body. Now if we observe this causal body, now let us read so that it becomes easier. Avyaktametat trigunair niruktam tatkaranam nama sariram atmanah susuptiretasya vibhaktyavastha pralina sarvendriya buddhi vritti. This is beautifully. Avyaktam etat trigunaihi nirukta. Now this three guna means sattva, rajaha, tamaha, three gunas. Niruktam means constituted, is being bonded. So when they have been constituted, then what happens? But they are in avyaktam state. So avyaktam means unmanifest state. And that is called as karana sarira. Interestingly, earlier also we were talking about Maya before verses, if I am right. Let me have a look at the verse number, I think 108 or 9 something it came. Just, if I am right, just 1 minute, because see, these are the, sometimes we need cross references so that it becomes, yes, exactly. Maya is being taught. Abhyakta namni paramesha shaktihi anadi avidya trigunaatmika pora karyanumeya sudridheya maya yaya jagat sarvamidam prashuyate. So there what happens, interestingly, when it was talking about Maya, very carefully, there never talked about Karana Sariram. Because if we look at, understand this Karana Sariram, individual Karana Sariram and total Karana Sariram. Actually there is not much difference, but there is difference. So individual Karana Sariram, that means what? You go to sleep. So when you go to sleep, everything is resolved for you. The world is resolved or not? That is technically. And not only that, all the work also stops. Which will be seen in the next verse. So also, when pralaya happens, the total Karana Sariram, during pralaya time, what happens? Same thing happens. But here what is happening is, this is what we have to understand. There the Karana Sariram name was not being used at all. Whereas here Adi Shankaracharya brings the word Karana Sariram to make it very clear that this is called sleep. There is a difference between sleep and pralaya. So pralaya means total destruction. Let us say when the creation comes to completely change. That's why we see in Susupti, in sleep, everything works. What he says? Vibhakti avastha. So it is Vibhakti avastha, which is very distinct, not a special state, okay? Don't get into special state. Then special state means what? You have to do a lot of things, okay? I'm sorry, what's happening? This is not a good sign. Becoming cold. Sorry. So, coming back. And this state is distinct from everything. Now where sarva indriya buddhi vritti pralina iti. So when it says sarva indriya buddhi vritti pralina iti, that means the function of sarva indriya, all organs, including sense, organs of actions, okay? Organs of actions and organs of perceptions. Karmendriya and Gyanendriya, 5, 5, 10, they are suspended. Even though sometimes Karmendriya works. For example, those who are sleepwalker, somnambulism. So they work. But even though they work, we don't consider that as work. Because there is no deliberate action. In fact, if you ask that person later on, hey, you worked, you did this thing. When? No, impossible. So what is being highlighted here is all the sense organs put together, 5 organs of actions and 5 organs of perceptions. They are being suspended. Even though there are certain activities continuous. But we call those activities are involuntarily action. So we don't consider that as an action, number one. But interestingly, this point to be noted very carefully. In Karana Sarina, especially sleep time, here, everything is suspended except prana. And thank God. Imagine you go to sleep as the 5 organs of action and perceptions goes to, they are suspended. Along with that, prana also is being suspended. What will happen? So you will sleep forever. You want to understand? So instead of getting up, I am going to sleep. So that will be RIP. Okay, rest in peace, or put into sleep. That better. Where are you going? I am putting myself into sleep. That is the better word, okay? That is a very beautiful expression we have in India also. Because in India they don't allow, some countries they started allowing. Suppose if a person goes through a lot of suffering and other things, can take that one particular medicine so that they can put into sleep. In fact, in India, a lot of cases are going on. So they, up to Supreme Court, they have gone, people, we want to die, but there are a lot of confusion. But in India, animals are being given officially, absolutely no problem, like dogs and other things. So that particular medicine is there, you can put. So they don't say that we are killing. The medical terminology they use. So we put that animal into sleep. So this is the language they use. We put into sleep. So what they do is they make sure the pranas are being taken away, you understand? So once the pranas are suspended, taken away or weakened, that's all. So thank God, in Susupti, in deep sleep, all our sense organs are suspended except pranas. Or else I am sure none of you will be interested to go to sleep. Imagine. Suppose somebody says, hey look, now if you are going to sleep, you will never get up. Will you go to sleep? You will try your level best. Let me finalize everything, okay? So that, but problem will happen is you will never able to finalize, never will be able to sleep either. That's another point. However, so here is beautifully, so this sleep state is very interesting. And because it is very interesting, that's why everybody inevitably wants to get into. You can survive without food, but you will not like to be alive without sleep. Why? Let us look at this next also. Sarva prakara pramiti prasanti बीजात्मना बस्तितिरेव बुद्धेः सुसुप्तिरेतस्य किल प्रतीतिः किंचित् न वेत्मीति जगत् प्रसिद्धेः. Says beautifully, सर्व प्रकार प्रमिति प्रशांति. So pramiti means, it's a beautiful word. So here it says perceptions. It's a process of knowing. It's not perception, okay, the wrong word. Process of knowing. Like pramana. So pramana means eyes, okay. We have three things. Pramana, prameya, pramata. That you know. So prameya means the object to be known. Pramana means of knowledge. Here eyes. Pramata means the one who is a knower. Knower, object of knowledge and means of knowledge. So these are the three things we use. So he uses a new word called pramiti. So pramiti means the process of knowing. How the pramana, the means of knowledge, this eyes start seeing that process. So here he said that what? Sarva prakara, all kinds of process of knowing. Prasanti comes to cessation, stops. And what happens here? He says, look, it gets into bijatmanaha avastitihi. So it comes to the seed form. Very dormant condition. But please God said, don't try to combine with this thing in samadhi and other things. Okay, we'll discuss later on. Okay. Then he says, buddhehe susuptihi. And interestingly, if you observe, even if the intellect, not only if we observe very carefully, all kinds of process of knowing comes to complete cessation. Also the buddhi doesn't function, the intellect. And because of that reason, what happens? In the deep sleep, etasya kila pratitihi kinchit na vetmiti jagat prasiddhe. That's why mind comes up and later on says, look, I did not know anything. In fact, I slept like a log of wood. This is the expression we have or not? I slept like a log of wood. The moment I hit the bed, this is another expression, okay? The moment I hit the bed, how did you hit? Don't ask, okay? So we have really some funny expressions in English, okay? However, so here, that in deep sleep, I did not know anything. This is susupti or in deep sleep. If you observe, generally in deep sleep, your metabolism slows down. That's why if you try to sleep longer, you will not feel hungry. Have you not observed this? That's why if you observe, night people don't eat unless you are other way around, okay? There are people, keep something next to them, okay? In night they will get up, they may feel hungry, munch, again eat, drink and sleep. That's a special category of people, okay? Let us not think of them. So in short, in deep sleep, metabolism slows down. If you observe one beautiful point is like all these polar bear. Polar bear in winter, they get into hibernation mode. In fact, they don't eat. So So all perfectly, this is the difference, no? They are perfectly in which state? Samadhi state. Only problem is for pole bear, this state is very natural and spontaneous. In fact, every 6 months, every year 6 months, or at least 3 months minimum, they do it by default. And whereas we have to put a lot of effort to get into that state. You understand? This is the difference, nothing else. So here, what I am highlighting very carefully is, the sleep is a state. That is what we all, this is universal verdict, means everybody, Jagat Prasiddhe, everybody talks, everybody highlights, that I did not know anything. So in short, that I have to understand this very carefully, why and how. In waking state, definitely Stula Sarira is very much predominant, and other Sarira also is there. Sukshma Sarira and Karma Sarira also there, but mainly the activities are done by Stula Sarira, guided by Sukshma Sarira in waking state. In dream, predominantly Sukshma Sarira works. Don't say that there is no Stula Sarira, okay? Stula Sarira is there, okay? Gross body is there very much. But predominantly Sukshma Sarira, the subtle body works. That's why all the dream projects. Can you see this point? Whereas in deep sleep, predominantly the Karana Sarira works. So to differentiate that I am different from these three states, can you see this point? I am different from three bodies. This concept is being brought here, nothing else. We have to be very clear. When it is being talked, all this Karana, all this Sariratraya, wherever description comes, to make sure Sariratraya or Avastatraya concept, to make sure that I am different from all these three. However, it tries to talk. Let us look at the next verse. Dehendriya pranamano ahamadaya sarve vikara vishaya sukhadaya vyomadi bhutanyakhilam na vishwam avyakta pariyantamidam Anatma. Says beautifully that if you look at what is called not me, starting with Deha. Deha means this body, physical body, starting with, okay? Dahana yogyatvad iti deha. This body is subject to be burnt. That's why it is called deha. Okay? Dahana yogyatvad. So he says, starting with this body, and of course indriya, sense organs. Of course we can take the both organs of perceptions and organs of actions. Bhakadi Panchakam, and of course Stotradi Panchakam. Then Prana Panchakam also. 5 pranas too. Manaha, mind. Ahamadi, that's the beautiful. Ahamadaya, ego. That I-ness, that is the most important aspect, okay? I-ness, wherever that I-ness, like oneness, I-ness, okay? Sometimes that oneness becomes I-ness, okay? However, I-ness, ego, sarve vikaraha, all their modifications, And of course, along with their objects, Vishayaha, what are they? Sukha, Dukha. So, okay, Sukhadaya, pleasure. So, I add Dukham. All the experiences, whether it's pleasure or pain. And also, Vyomadi Bhutani. So, Vyomadi Bhutani means all 5 elements. Starting with space. So, Akasa, Vayu, Agni, Rapa, Prithvi. Agni, Apaha, Prithvi. So, starting with space, air, then comes fire, water and earth. Akhilam, the entire Vishwam. Akhilam Vishwam, entire universe. And he says, up to what? Objekta Paryantam. Up to the unmanifest Maya. Idam hi Anatma. Very nicely we sometimes use Brahmadi Stamba Paryantam. There is another expression, okay? Brahmadi Stamba Paryantam. So starting from Brahmaji, the creator. So here is Abhyakta coming, okay? Brahmadi Stamba. Stamba means a pillar. In a positive way we say, Brahmadi Stamba Paryatam Sarvam. Everything is not different from God. That's why, interestingly, this is what the Vedic teaching, this is the Vedantic teaching, is being expressed in Purana. That's why in India, epics are misunderstood. Nobody teaches us, unfortunately. For example, there was a incarnation called Narasimha. Sometimes we can Nrsimha. Nrsimha, Avatara Vishnu, had to appear in a pillar. Because when his father asked his son, where is your God? He said, where is he not he? Tell me. He is everywhere. What are you talking? Is he there in this pillar? You are so angry. Is he in this pillar? Of course he is there. Then of course out of anger when he tries to cut that pillar, they are the Nrsimha, Narasimha. Narasimha, why? Because it is called combination of human being and Simha means lion. Lion face body of a human being. And appeared. And of course killed him finally. So to present that God is everywhere. So positive way we put, if we want to say God is everywhere, Brahmadi Stamba Paryantam. Starting from Brahmaji up to a pillar. Everywhere God is. In fact, nothing is away from God, or God is not away from anything or anybody. And here is being put that look, till Avyakta, everything from starting from Deha till Avyakta unmanifest is Anatma, is not self. Means it is not me. What are you talking? The body is not me, then what is me? Of course body is not you. If body is you, then how can you say that this body is your body? You should say what? I am body. So sometimes what you say, your dog, how is it? So can you say by mistake also I am dog? Unless you have taken some marijuana, okay? So if you have taken some marijuana, you can say, yes, not only I have a dog, I am also sometimes dog. Some people do that, okay? Don't worry, okay? However, I am just looking at, because today everything, nothing is supporting, okay? That one battery is exhausted. Okay, fine. Then next is what? Maya Karya Sarvam. This is my problem, because when you are acquainted with one text, when a book, you look at another, I am not able to get the head of tail out of it. Maya Karyam Sarvam Mahadadi Deha Paryantam असदीदम अनात्म तत्वम विद्धि त्वम मरीचिका कल्पम. Says beautifully, Maya karyam sarvam. And what is that? Mahadadi deha paryantam. So we need to really see it nicely. So what he says is, everything is the karya, the product of Maya, object. And what is Maya? That also we have discussed in details. Now here he says, being everything product of Maya, and from where? From Mahat. Mahat means from Hiranyagarbha to up to this gross body. And of course, knowing that, remember, this is what you need to do. Anadi, so asat idam anatma tattvam viddhi. May you know, may you understand. What is this? This is also asat. It is not sat, it is not atma. This is anatma. And of course, it is exactly like, he gives the example of, it is exactly like the mirage in desert. How the mirage is useful, powerful, also deluding, both. The mirage is useful because it creates hope. Many people manages to live little longer, or sometimes they manage to reach a place to drink some water. Sometimes it is really helpful. And of course, deluding creates a lot of delusion. At the same time, creating all sort of problem. And most importantly, it is real, that moment. Later on what happens, don't ask. So how the mirrors is useful, real, deluding, meaningful, troublesome in desert, so also all this anatma, starting from Mahat up to this gross body. So they have their role to play. So whether we are getting carried away or not, it's up to us. And remember, getting carried away takes a second. Anybody can get carried away. Any moment one can get carried away. That's why the teaching only helps. It's like a brake. Don't tell that because there is a brake there will be no accident. Because you need to apply the brake. You understand what I am trying to say? So because the teaching is there, that doesn't mean that you say, oh, because teaching is there, so you will not get carried away. It's wrong. Swamiji, I am exposed to the teaching. How did I make mistake? You know how the purpose of the brake. So did you apply the brake? Yeah, sometimes you apply the brake, also brake fails. Because the speed was so high, brake did not work. Or you did not check the brake before, okay? You assumed brake is there. You assumed you have knowledge, nishta, commitment towards the knowledge. But in reality, you don't have commitment towards the teaching either. You understand what I am trying to say? So how? Because you have a brake in your vehicle, that does not mean that you will not meet an accident. You may forget that moment, or you may get deluded. Instead of putting brake, that happens many times, accident time. Instead of putting leg on brake, you put the more pressure on accelerator, okay? Or even if you apply the brake, brake fails. Or you may apply the brake little late. A fraction of second difference. So there are various factors. So also this teaching aspect. Actually teaching does a great job at least to make sure to remind you that, hey look, you are behind Anatma. Moreover, nothing wrong in behind Anatma. Considering Anatma as Atma. The moment you know it is Anatma, go behind. Nothing wrong in it. But considering Anatma as Atma. The body as me. If you look at body as body, nothing wrong in it. You take care of your body. Nothing wrong in it. If you know that, look, this power is a power. It is not me. Nothing wrong in it. Position is a position. Nothing wrong in it. But that position elevates me. It is me. That only creates the problem in life. So considering or looking at Anatma as Atma, this is the point, okay? Looking at Anatma as Atma is problem. Anatma as Anatma, no problem. So teaching is not against Anatma at all. In fact, the teaching itself is Anatma. The words that teacher speaks. The Veda itself says what happened? Veda Nirveda Bhavati. The teaching has to get dropped. And don't, okay, if this is the case, the first day itself I can drop it. Okay, thank you. Wish you all the best. So that's another level of people, okay? So anyway, later on I have to drop the Veda and teaching. What is there in the beginning itself, I am dropping it. Yeah, please do that. Wish you all the best. So whole purpose is to make it very clear. Not converting, not looking at by mistake. Not considering that Anatma as Atma. And as long as we look at Anatma as Anatma consciously, remember, you will never get carried away for a longer time. You will never. In fact, the moment you look at Anatma as Anatma, you will start using it. It's very simple. Let us say all these cleaning things agent we have here, okay? Like for example, all this liquid, okay? I'm just trying to say, example say. Let us say while talking I am thirsty. So I discover there is something, okay, to drink. This is liquid water. Now I'll take to drink, okay? How long? As long as I consider that this is water. Not water, considering is a liquid, okay? Considering a liquid as water. That long, because I am thirsty, I would like to drink. And it's a very good container, everything is great. But the moment I know that it is a liquid, but it is not water, will I able to drink? Impossible. How it works? In the same way. The moment you are reminded by the teaching that Anatma as Anatma, whether it is your body, your house, your thinking, your sense organs, people, sukham, dukkham, that is more important, pain and pleasure, your emotions, your sympathy, empathy, your attachment, anything and everything as Anatma. The moment you have this jnana, you will discover then and there you will be able to withdraw. Yes, because of habitual error and other things, you will go back and forth. You understand? That going back and forth is healthy, don't worry. Because then you understand, then you will start using, applying your own break. You understand? Because that when you talk to yourself, that is called learning to apply the break. There comes the commitment towards the knowledge. And the more commitment you have towards the knowledge, you will discover very smoothly you will keep applying the brake. In fact, that person is a great driver who does not apply the brake. If you ask me personally, this is what I have learned in my life. Whenever I drive a car, I look at the person who is in the front. If I discover that fellow is applying more brake, I never like to be behind that car. Today I am telling you the secret. If I discover in cities especially, if that fellow is applying more brake, because once you apply the brake, red light will be on behind. If that fellow applies brake unnecessarily, never ever I like to be follow that car. No, that means that fellow is not a good driver. In fact, we have a very good saying in India. We say, especially in Chennai, fellow must be NRI. Non-resident Indian, okay? We have a very bad saying, okay? However, coming back to the point. Why all these things? Because we need to look at life. Any moment, at every moment, I must be reminded by the knowledge especially that all these things I am exposed to, I am dealing with is nothing but Anatma. Then what I do is, I don't get carried away with anybody or anything. At the same time, I am not hatred, I am not hating anything, I am not neglecting anything, but I use everything. Can you see this point? Everything has got uses. Because if I don't use, remember, I do not know whether this is going to be my last life or not. That I do not know. Nobody can say. So at least if I start hating in this life, some people, and whatever they hate in this life, next life they will get that. Okay, you understand what I am trying to say? And whatever you love in this life, don't worry, you will hate in next life. This is my logic, okay? Need not be true, okay? Please, be understand, be clear. Don't come to the conclusion, okay? What I am highlighting here is, once you understand this thing, then you will see a big difference. Then what happens? Then what is me? Now few verses talks about it, okay? Let us now read. Athate sampravakshami swarupam paramatmanam yad vijñāyo naro bandhat muktah kaivalyam ashnute. Now the teacher says, okay, after once you know what is Anatma, that's why the first thing is reminding yourself what is Anatma, what is Anatma. That's why all the time, dwelling upon, okay, that's why we say, the more you see the limitations of anybody or anything, the more you will be detached from that. Very easiest way to be detached. But the problem is, you may get detached from something, again you will get attached to some other thing, okay? That's the problem. So detachment, attachment, detachment continues. So here is being said, that once you see this thing, then what happens? You need to understand what is me. He says, Athate sampravakshami. Now, once you understand what is this Anatma want, now I am going to tell what sampravakshami means. In details I am going to teach you, explain you. Sampravakshami. What is that? Paramatmana swarupa, the nature of Paramatma. So Paramatma means the Atma, Atma and Paramatma version, oneself, or you can say the totality. Why and how? Yad vijñāya, by knowing which, naraha, a person, bandhan muktaha, becomes free from bondage. Not only that, kaivalyam ashnuteti. Ashnute means gains, attains. What is kaivalyam? Kaivalyam means liberation. Why kaivalyam? Kevala bhavam. Where there is oneness called kaivalyam. Where there is only one thing exists. That is called kaivalyam. That means liberation is in oneness, not in duality. As long as you see the duality, that long you are not liberated. That long you are not a free person either. So when the teacher says that, look, now I am going to teach this thing, now definitely few verses will continue on the teaching, which we will see on Monday in details. Please close your eyes. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः